After many years of having nothing but contempt for BMWs, this 1991 BMW 850i I recently purchased is finally starting to bring me back into loving the brand. Now, this is despite that it's still broken after spending a couple thousand fixing it, and the mechanics said that it was unfixable. Still, as you can see, I'm starting to embrace the BMW lifestyle. I have fancy shoes by Dino, a nice smart blazer, and some designer sunglasses, and I'm slowly starting to feel more important than any other driver on the road. Turn signals, bleh. I don't need lesser humans to know which direction I'm turning. Additionally, I checked out their BMW lifestyle catalog and bought this briefcase from them, which was designed for BMW ownership. Now, this one is made for older BMWs, and they do make briefcases for newer ones that come with a built-in fire extinguisher. Props, I know. Carrot Top, eat your heart out. Now, today I'm going to go over the things I really like about this car and the benefits of 850i ownership, as well as the things I don't like and things that remain broken. So let's get in this Silky Smooth V12 and fire her up. Let's get started. Oh, can't wait to get to work and pick out some new business cards. Well, shush! BMW briefcase to the rescue! And while I'm out here, another thing I really like about this old 8 Series is the styling. This iconic shark nose beauty is one of the most stunning coupes of all time. With its sweeping lines and pillarless roofline, it's just perfect. And now, I'm going to use my briefcase to get this perfect car running. Uh-huh. Oh, come on. Yes. Oh. I forgot about the dog. I forgot about the dog. Dino, go inside. Go inside. Go. Go. Like I said, what a smooth, silky V12 engine this is. And it was never meant to win drag races or reach high speeds, but make this car feel as smooth and luxurious as possible. The interior also plays up this super luxurious theme, and I love the two-tone interior with this aircraft cockpit-like setup. And you can really tell the designers at BMW really thought out this thing with little details, like the rear seats with a huge upward angle to the bottom, since most rear passengers are going to be riding with their knees to their chest anyway. And then they put this little coin holder in the driver's side door, which is just perfect for toll roads. This thing was built to be the best gentleman's highway cruiser in the world, and the smoothness of the ride is another thing that really impresses me, and something you would never see with modern BMWs. You all know I'm a big fan of giant old American land yachts, and this is the closest I found to a German version of it, as it's just so relaxing and insulating from the outside elements, and doesn't have the harsh ride or the firm, twitchy steering you would expect from modern BMWs. Yes, this BMW was built for comfort, and if BMW made a car like this in 2017, it would get roasted by journalists for not doing well in the slalom course and its laughable handling of the Nürburgring. You'll never see a suspension like this from BMW ever again that's tuned primarily for comfort. This is the car that you can totally relax in. And that brings me to the other main thing that I love about this 850, and that's how it makes me feel. I'm just so relaxed and content when I'm behind the wheel. The old leather smell that luxury cars have lost in recent years is still strong in this car over 25 years later. And I feel like I could point this thing west towards California and go the entire 1,200 miles without feeling tired. It also has a 24-gallon fuel tank, like a truck-sized fuel tank. So I imagine it would have pretty decent range too. It's too bad it's about a coin flip on this thing actually making that distance. And that'll bring me to the obvious thing that people hate about these cars, and that's all of the problems. Now, I've spent like $2,000 to have all the things fixed, the obvious things fixed, like the noisy AC compressor and the loose steering and a few leaks and changing fluids and all that kind of stuff. And now that the obvious things are fixed, I'm starting to notice all of the little problems this car has. For example, my seat, one of the motors is bad, and now I can't lower it enough to get my head out of the ceiling, so I have to sort of gangsta pose it in this car until it's fixed. And there's lots of other little electrical gremlins that I was not told about, and I can tell somebody knew because there's a few random pulled relays in the glove box. And as you saw earlier, my BMW Lifestyle briefcase was used to address another emerging problem. This BMW has a pretty decent battery draw, which kills the battery if it sits for more than a week at a time. I'm pretty sure the previous owner knew about this and didn't tell me. Rather, he gently directed me to use the battery tender he provided for me in the trunk. He just threw it in for free. And I noticed the security system on this car goes nuts with first cold starts. Whatever computer or module or whatever is on the fritz with this thing is draining the batteries. And no matter how long I drive this car, it isn't enough to charge them back up. So the batteries in the trunk that are only a year old may be toast. And yes, I meant batteries plural, which leads to another thing I hate about this BMW. Rather than create a whole new V12 and every electronic component with it, BMW engineers decided to take two of their inline sixes and basically bond them together at the crankshaft. So there's two of almost everything electronics-wise to make this car work. Yeah, there are two batteries in the trunk, and there's two ignition systems, electronic throttle bodies, engine computers, and so much more finicky electrical junk that sends this car into a limp home mode with every hiccup. I finally got to experience this limp home mode for the first time after it sat for weeks at a mechanic shop, and the battery voltage was so low it was causing electrical issues. And it sat for weeks because the mechanic who was working on it couldn't figure out how to fix it. He couldn't fix it, you know. It was unfixable. This car is unfixable. Nobody knows what to do. I know, it's rough. It's so rough. Yes. Oh, here's a good spot. You like this spot? Yes. Ooh. Oh, yeah. Good dog. Yes, finding someone who wants to work on this car is another big problem V12 BMW owners will encounter. For example, my AC was working fine before, it just had a noisy compressor, and after the mechanic replaced the compressor, dryer, and expansion valve and recharged the system, the AC refused to ever work again. The compressor jumps on just fine when power is applied to it, but refuses to turn on normally, and they can't figure out why. And they couldn't find a diagram to chase the wires down, so the mechanic just threw his hands up and moved on to other cars that would actually make him money. Now, I'm not mad at the guy at all and really don't blame him. And I know this shop is very competent. They were the ones who did the entire engine swap on my old Mercedes S600 and did a flawless job. But I bet the car wizard will be able to figure it out when I finally bring it up to him after he finishes the Bentley and the Lexus and about 6 other cars. I farmed out this job just because I had so many projects piled up on him already. So when you take away the mechanical issues of the 8 Series, and I know that's saying a lot, this BMW really is fantastic at being what it was designed to be. I'm not a big fan of the electronic throttle or the traction control, and the automatic transmission does feel pretty dated, but these are all things that I'm willing to put up with, along with the mechanical issues. Really, this is the first BMW I've owned that seems worth the headache. It's a fine art sculpture, and a gentleman's lounge, and a smooth Concorde-esque commuter, but it's also a giant dumpster fire of a car. And for those of you that know me, you'll know this car is a perfect match for me. So, Beamer, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Yes, yes. Do-do-doop-de-doo. Do-doop-de-doop-de-doo. Do-do-doop-de-doop-de-doo. Yes!